Hey everybody, I'm back here today with an interview that I did with Big Mike, as I like to call him, who is a bassist for a plethora of bands and is currently located in the Los Angeles area. Originally, this interview I did with him was back on December 9th of 2023, and we did this on Zoom. Please excuse any weird edits that you'll see in this video. Unfortunately, Zoom does not like my computer at all. And every time I end up doing an interview with somebody on there, there's always some sort of technical difficulty for whatever reason. This time around, Zoom didn't want to record my audio, let alone properly track Mike's audio. So I kind of had to go back and re-record myself asking these questions. This was a fun interview I did with Mike, pretty in tongue-in-cheek. I hope you guys will like it, and even if it might end up being a little immature. Other than that, though, please enjoy the video. Are you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm right-handed, but in a lot of things I do, I'm left-handed. But like writing, predominantly right-handed, but a lot of things I am lefty.
What's your favorite animal?
Uh, Dogs, but that's like a little more boring. I'm really into cows. I love cows. Cows fucking rule. They lick. They're fucking huge. They're pretty. They're really weird. Um, they're fucking massive. I've spent a decent amount of time with cows, and I really fuck with cows pretty hard. But yeah, I guess dogs. Dogs, I would have to say. If I'm really answering this truthfully, it's dogs.
What is your musical background? Do you come from a musical family?
I do not come from a musical family at all. A pretty unmusical family. A pretty like unartsy family too. I started playing trombone in fourth grade just because like I guess when you're in fourth grade, where my school was, had to do some sort of instrument, whether it was like chorus, orchestra, or band. And I don't know why I thought the trombone was cool at the time, but I did the trombone. And I was terrible at it, like the worst of my was awful for a really, really long time. I became like sort of good later. This will make sense. I played trombone for a handful. I played fourth grade to 12th grade. But then in 8th or 9th grade or so, I met one of my best friends, Apollo, and I was at the time I was a pretty like really basic vanilla sports obsessed white kid. I was weird, but I didn't really understand it yet. But like surface level, I was just super basic. And I met my friend Alex, who was like, his mom was like this like deadhead, and he had like long fucking huge afro, and he played bass, and he would like wear like Rush t-shirts, and like he skated, and he was kind of punk. And I just thought he was like so fucking cool. He played bass, so he taught me how to play bass, and not a lot. Like he basically just taught me how to pluck, hit notes with my left hand, and yeah. After he taught me a couple songs. He taught me like Smoke on the Water and like Seven Nation Army and Dazed and Confused by Led Zeppelin. So he taught me like a couple songs and some basic stuff. And then yeah, I thought it was really cool Like I enjoyed it a lot, and I think for like a birthday present, my mom got me um one of those like little starter kits for guitar for bass. So it came like a shitty bass. It wasn't that Ibanez, but a bare bones one. But yeah, it came with a bass and a strap and some picks and like an amp. Um, and I ended up getting lessons for a month, just one 4 lessons. And I was gonna quit because I sort of hated it because I wanted I wanted to do bass because it was just fun. And um, this guy, I mean, I knew how to read sheet music at the time from playing trombone, but like I was learning scales, or he was teaching me scales, and learning the bass formally. Um, and I remember I was like, I went into like my last lesson, and my mom's dropping me off, and I'm like crying because I don't want to go, and I'm like, I don't want to play bass anymore, and she's just like, that's fine, like just do this lesson, just do this one lesson. I know in her head she's like, bitch, I paid for it, so you're gonna fuck. But so I ended up going, and okay, like I'm pretty over this, I'm done. But I still had my bass in my room, and I don't remember like an exact moment or something, but I ended up just still picking up my bass every single day. And um I would just like try to play along to songs and like use my ear. And I had a pretty decent ear at the time, so I was able to figure out a lot of stuff myself. Um, and then yeah, I got like kind of okay, good enough to like learn some songs by myself. Um, yeah, so I started learning tabs, and I was obsessed with like the Chili Peppers. Um, I learned a lot of Chili songs. I learned a lot of Parliament songs. I was pretty into funk. Like I would up interviews on like Flea, and anytime he would mention any like funk artist who I'd never heard of, I would like try to learn their bass lines and stuff. So yeah, it was all finger style for even okay. This slightly off topic. This is more like a style thing, but the last thing my bass teacher taught me, because I told him it was my last lesson, and he's just like, okay, well, if it's your last lesson, like we should teach you how to slap. And I'm okay, like slapping, like I didn't even know what that was. Like, so he taught me how to slap, and I was like, damn, this is like pretty fun. And then I started getting pretty okay at slapping, and for like a whole year after that, I was like, I'm not a finger style bass player. I'm not a pick bass player. All I do is slap. I slapped only for like a year and a half, or a, all of my like slap chops that I have now, I got when I was 14 years old, you know, else but slapping, and just sitting in my room for like 2 or 3 hours at a time, just like and I don't know, it was fun. It was like so much different from the trombone, which you needed such a delicate touch, and opponents like holding the trombone, and with slapping I could just like fucking bang the shit out of it, and like really like my goal, I was just like, you're not stopping playing until like literally your thumb's bleeding.
How many bands have you been in?
I've only been in 2 bands in my life, of which fucked forever when I moved to LA. I call it I was just a bedroom rock star for a long time. I always wanted to be in a band, but I just like didn't really do anything to make it happen. So I just sat and shredded. And so I was in fucked forever for a year and a half, maybe close to 2 years. And then we broke up, but like we were only playing DIY shows. Probably the biggest venue we played at. I don't know if you've ever been to LA, but it's a venue called The Smell. It's like a pretty like legendary ages venue. Sound sucks, but it's like there's a stage that was like be stressful for me at the time. Like, damn, like, gotta make sure I sound actual stage instead of just someone's their backyard or a really really tiny bar or something like that. So once and of course Cancer Christ does DIY stuff too, but touring with the venues that we were playing at, um, like the Mohawk in Austin, and just all the venues on tour, Go Horror and Eyehategod, and even another step up with Guar, that was all incredibly new to me. Like even for talking with Diesel Snake after a couple shows into the Eyehategod tour, and I'm like, because when we do sound check, it's like, do you want more in your monitors of this? Do you need like whatever? And like, I had no fucking idea what I needed. So I'm like, hey, like, I'm not gonna call him by his name, but like, what am I looking for? Like when doing sound checks, because I would just sort of be like nervous and be like, yeah, it's fine, and then like, I don't know if it's um. So yeah, learned a lot, still learning a lot about live sound, and it's weird. It's a strange, really really complicated and really difficult. It's like you could do a sound check and everything sounds great on stage, shit out in the audience, or vice versa, or everything's good when nobody's in the room, and then people show up. There's a bunch of people in the crowd, like one note. Oh my god, like this sounds fucking terrible. Like it doesn't sound anything like it did when we did sound check. So um, it's a tricky. It's tricky,
How did Cancer Christ get started?
Um, well, so I knew Anthony and Tommy. Quick story about how I met both of them. So Anthony was always just a madman of a photographer. He really liked photographing. My band fucked forever power shows. I met him, and at first I really like Anthony much because he was so fucking intense, just so. I'm like, dude, like just calm down. Like, he just kind of overwhelmed me or whatever. But at the same time, I very quickly registered how passionate he was about music and photography, and I was like, okay, like this guy's kind of fucking cool as fuck. Like, and he would like show up to shows like with his daughter and his wife Amy. It was like a family event for them coming to. This was before, had been in a band before. So it took me a second, but I was just like, okay, like I fuck with this dude. Like, we were sort of just like show acquaintances. Tommy, um, we had played a show. My band fucked forever. His band, the Manx, at the time, at Church of Fun, and kind of a fitting story for how we are as friends and bandmates now is. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Manx. Um, it was sort of like a folk punk band, but if it got like doused in acid, like Adderall, and was like shit violently shat out of someone's asshole, um, really wild. But they would like cover themselves in like blue paint and stuff or pink paint. Like, Tommy's into fluids. So I went to the bathroom outside of the Church of Fun. I was gonna like pee on the street, and I see all the Manx boys. They're like all getting their outfits on. They're all wearing these like little gold shorts, these sparkly gold shorts, and they're all like shirtless and they're like covering paint all over themselves. And I was like kind of wasted, and I just walk up to Tommy and I'm just like, "Hey, you want to like spit some of that paint on my dick?" while I'm while I'm peeing, and like Tommy's like, yeah, like, and then Anthony took a photo, an amazing photo that was actually in some art gallery or bit. um, of Tommy like leaning forward like in this stance and spitting blue paint like onto my dick while I'm peeing. And the bass player of the Manx, Adam, he actually has like a full blown up photo of that. I think before he moved was like in his bathroom for like years. So he would just, I guess, became him and his wife became very acquainted by penis. Just because they would see it every day. Tommy just splattering it in blue paint. But yeah, so that's I met both of them. So I mean, me and Tommy and me and Anthony, like we weren't great friends or anything. We were like show acquaintances and like show homies. Like we would see each other out. We would say hey, and you know, but it wouldn't have been right for me to like hit up Tommy and be like, hey, you want to like grab some lunch or something? Like that would have been weird. Um, but Tommy was trying to find a singer for Squid Pisser. I don't know if you're familiar with his Squid Pisser. So I hit up Tommy to do vocals for Squid Pisser, which I guess he didn't want me to do. I sent him some vocal tracks that I do. I think I'm super fitting. That's fine. Tommy's doing great as a vocalist, better than I would have done as a vocalist for Squid Pisser. He's on fire as a vocalist. But anyway, so I hit Tommy up to do Squid Pisser vocals, and he's just like, I don't think that's gonna work, but do you want to try bass? Because I just him and Seth, the drummers. So Tommy sent me a couple of songs, and I was really busy at the time with a whole lot of stuff. I was really not in the right position to be in a band, and the Squid Pisser songs were really fucking hard, and it would have just taken a lot of work to do, and I just sort of flaked on it. So I actually like ghosted Tommy. Like he sent me the songs and he kind of gave me like a little lesson, and I was learning. Um, I was learning one. I can't remember the name of it. It's a really cool song. But then yeah, I ghosted him, and then like maybe a month or two later, he just hits me up and he's like, "Hey, do you want to fill in on bass for these two Cancer Christ shows that were coming up?" And this was kind of like the pandemic was starting to like shows were starting to happen again, and I hadn't played a show in a really long time. So at the time, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna play these two shows and just like kind of get my fix of, because I was losing my mind, like not playing any of these. I felt very much like a useless human being. Um, so it took a lot of work, but I learned the songs. I think, I mean, it was a good amount, a solid amount of time. I think I had a month to learn all the songs. But um, yeah, I just started going to practice. I think we had 3 or 4 practices and then these two shows, and just very organically, everyone in the bands like became my friend, um, and it was very easy. Communication was really good. It was very professional. Um, Tommy kind of being, I don't want to say a boss, but he was like, the director of stuff. Like, because some bands, if they don't have someone just being like, hey, we need this, we need this, it's all apart. And Tommy's really good at keeping people, keeping the band in track and on track and things like that. So it was like it felt very professional and very fun at the same time, because everyone really quickly just we all just gelled as humans, and we're just laughing a lot and just having like a shitload of fun. So after the two shows, I guess there was 2 bass players at the time. The old bass player, he left, but for the 2 shows that I did play, there was another bass player, that played. There were two bass players, also two drummers at the time. It was two drummers, three guitar players, a synth person, two bass players, and a vocalist. I think the whole idea, and something we still wanted Cancer Christ to be a gang of fucking people, a church-sized amount of snakes, you know. So yeah, the other bass player was like didn't really want to do it full time, and it was sort of, I mean, it wasn't like a battle between me and this person or anything like that, but it was like whoever wants it, it's theirs. You just got to step up and, you know, prove that you're ride or die sort of thing. So I was just like, I'll play any fucking show. I'll be at every rehearsal without question. I'm down. Uh, so yeah, the other bass players, I mean, they're in other bands too. They're in a band, Dross, Dross, really strange, weird, like noise rock band from LA. They have like, I don't know the name of it, but a weird solo solo vocal project too. Yeah, real weird, very weird dude, really good guy. I don't want to say his name. I don't want to expose anyone's name that wouldn't want, but yeah. Yeah, and then I just became the primary bass player of Christ, and I think once that happened too, I came in. I've always been very performative and very physically interactive with the crowd stuff, but once like the position became mine, I became a lot more confident in what I can stage. And you know, because when you join a new band, it's just like you're kind of feeling out like what is cool, what gels with this band. So I do a lot of shit, go out into the audience and roll around on the ground and fuck with people and stuff like that. It was just like I didn't know what was cool or not. So once the position became mine and I was like trusted as a bass player and professional in band settings, I was like sort of given the confidence where like I could do whatever the fuck I want because I know parameters of I understand the parameters of, you know, what's warranted and what's not warranted. Cancer Christ. I would destroy my life for this band, and I have in many ways, but I would lose everything I have. This is pretty much the only thing I really care about. Like everything else is very secondary. I mean, in general, but I really love the freedom and the fun that I have in Cancer Christ. So it's
How did you guys end up touring with Eyehategod and Goat Whore?
your first comment. So like Eyehategod is since I was 16 or 17, they've pretty much been my favorite metal band. Um, so that was like a home run for me. I was what like God like I love like southern doomy stuff. Like I love Buzz Oven and Eyehategod and High on Fire and Weed Eater and like doomy kind of southern bluesy influenced bands. But I guess just I'm not a tour man or a booking agent, whatever you want to call it. Had connections with Eyehategod and a lot of those southern bands like Weed Eater and stuff. So it was really just kind of through a booking agent who's also our friend. Um, but yeah, I guess he made that connection and made it happen. And then funny thing too with Tommy, he's obsessed with Guar, obsessed. So it's sort of like best of both worlds. Like Eyehategod and he hate Guar, and those are two bucket list kind of things, you know, for us to let alone tour with. So it was like two home runs you know, one after.
Did you guys play at Ernie November's? What did you think?
We did, yeah. We played at that venue or that record store. I have, um, but that show ruled. That was one of our last shows on the tour, and it was cool to have played so many like medium to large size venues and having really really big shows, really big crowds, and then playing at a record store with both of those bands. I mean, I Hate God and Goat Horror, two of the like loudest bands I've and just extreme, in their own ways. Yeah, it felt kind of. I mean, it felt like we were playing a DIY show, which was cool because like that's more where we're coming. I know both of those bands have played DIY shows and stuff, but they're also really really big now. So I think it's seldom that they're playing tinier, intimate shows like that. So yeah, it was really cool. It kind of felt like. I mean, obviously we were in Wyoming, we're not home, but it felt like more like our kind of energy, you know. Yeah, so it was sort of cool. It's like we've been kind of getting on their level the whole time, and like now coming back to like an energy that we're more familiar with, like during that tour, or this time of their band's career. Um, so yeah, it was fun as hell.
What would you do if you have to shit on stage?
Well, um, Tommy likes to shit like 4 seconds before we're about to play. That's like his like it, because we have to do a lot of preparation with our outfits and stuff like that, and just getting all of our props set up and stuff. And relatively often, and I mean, he doesn't take forever, and still does what he's got to do. But we're just like, look, where the fuck is Tommy? Or like, there's one bathroom in the green room, and he's just shitting, and then it smells bad, and yeah. So what does Tommy do? Tommy just shits 8 seconds before we have to play. Um, and you mean specifically what do I do if I have to shit while I'm playing?
Yes. The last time I talked to Sammy Duet, I asked him what he would do if he had to go while playing. He told me he would shit himself. I've also heard a story where Dimebag Darrell shit in a bucket while playing on stage.
I mean, that fucking rules. That's how I would expect Sammy to respond to that. That's how I would expect Dimebag Darrell to handle that. Um, I have never had the feeling of having to shit while playing. If I did, I would. Um, well, okay. Piss is okay in the band. Vomit is okay in the band. Shit is not okay. We've talked about this. We are not a shit band. Um, all other fluids, pretty much any other fluid, blood, jizz, any type of cum, pee, all welcome. But shit is not. So if I really did have to shit, I'd probably just shit in my pants.
Do you guys have a designated time where you all go to the bathroom?
That would be really cool if we did. It was just like time to shit, boys. Like it's poop time. Like, no, we just sort of shit when we can. I mean, personally, I'm a morning shitter, so I poop. It's usually when I wake up, and we stayed in hotel rooms pretty much every night. So, I mean, yeah, there's like Anthony. Anthony would have to shit like multiple times a day. So like, I mean, we'd just be at a gas station, and be like, all right, like we're ready to fucking go. We're gonna be late. And we're like, where the fuck is so and so? Which me personally, I'm very timely with pooping. Like I just need like 8 minutes. Um, but yeah, Anthony will take like fucking forever. Tommy will take forever. Diesel Snake efficient. Um, Apocalypse Snake is not very efficient either. But yeah, no, it's cool to be in sync where we can all maybe if we toured for like 6 months, we can work on being the most time efficient and having the same exact shit schedule. Um, but yeah, that'll be down the line. Yeah, yeah. We're in our 30s, so we're still doing this 30 years from now. I'm sure one of us will start shitting themselves on stage like every show, just a little bit. May have to become a shit band's like breakup. Yeah, I'd like to avoid being a shit band if possible. God will, God willing, I'd like to avoid being a shit band.
Who has the worst farts in the band?
Uh, it's probably me. Um, and I get yelled at a lot. I get scapegoated a lot. Um, yeah, it's undeniably me, but there is like a lot of unwarranted scapegoating that goes. And anyone, if anybody fucks up and like farts in the car, like it could just be blamed on me instantly. Um, and everyone's gonna believe it because I'm usually the one at fault. So like, yeah, maybe like 8 out of 10 times it's me, but sometimes it's Tommy or someone else. But yeah, it's me. The answer is me. Wow. I crop dust fucking anywhere I want to go. It's just like if you don't want me to crop dust, then like y'all got to pay me more so I can eat better and not be eating fucking gas station fucking chicken sandwiches all day long. And but until that time comes, the crops will be dusted. They're
In your opinion, who is the cutest member of Cancer Christ?
um boss without question. Um, yeah, I'd rather fuck Snake Boss than anyone else in the band. Um, I don't want to, but yeah, he's tall and slender, and objectively has the best body. Uh, got long hair. He surfs. He's got his own record label. He lives in a gated community. All very redeemable qualities. So yeah, easy. Wouldn't even blink. Gonna be Snake Boss. Have kissed. We never kissed. Tommy spit on me a few times during shows, like on my face. I've made out with Candy Snake, which Candy Snake that you were at. Um, Candy Snake's an ex-member. God bless his soul from sugar addiction. He overdosed on sugar. He loved candy so much. So he's dead now. Rest in peace. But every show we would make out, me and Candy Snake, and that was pretty fun. Um, yeah, but no, Tommy and I have never made out. I think Tommy sat on my face a couple times. Um,
Have you ever smoked crack?
no, the answer is no. I've never smoked crack. No.
Can you cook? Do you like to cook?
I do cook. Um, I'm good when I try. If I ever cook food for other people, which I do sometimes, my heart and soul will be in it, and I will get the effort of trying to make the greatest salad you've ever eaten in your life, or a fucking. But when I cook for myself, I just am pretty lazy and just not like it's bad, but it's just like, okay, I'll make some sort of pasta, and it's like I've got some herbs and stuff, but then I'm gonna have to clean this cutting board, and then I'm gonna have herbs and clean them, and I'm like, so I'm okay. I mean, I grew up. My dad was raised, or my grandfather owned a diner in Queens, Um, so my dad was like raised on like diner culture. Um, Cooking eggs is a integral part of my soul. Uh, uh, yeah, it's like uh, if you can't cook a good egg in my family, like you're not quite yet. So yeah, I'm really good at cooking like bodega shit, making sandwiches and like breakfast sandwiches. Also some foods, and I'm good at making like salads, making them very aesthetically pleasing. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'd like to get better, but I also just don't care all that much. Um,
What's your favorite food?
my favorite food, I mean, just like bodega shit, um, just like Italian heroes and fucking fucking hoagie, just deli food shit. I mean, I love Italian food too. Like I told you, like the town I grew up in was very Italian. So there was a lot of good like pizza, Italian restaurants. So yeah, pretty much like Italian food and like Guido ass fucking bodega sandwiches. I mean, Jewish delis too. Like, I mean, speaking of pastrami, this is a whole other conversation. But yeah, I mean, Jewish delis are fucking amazing too. Fucking knishes, matzo ball soup, um, ramen sandwiches, which there's kind of a lack of in LA. There's a couple places that people always talk about this place, Cantor's. This is 24-hour Jewish deli. Like, sorry, Angeles, but it's so mid. It's so okay. Truly, it's like a 6.9. It's a solid 6.9, and that's fine. Like, it gets the job done. You gotta green for it, you know. But um, yeah, just like the Jewish delis in New York, like put it to shame. And I do get offended. Like, yeah, but what about Cantor's? Like, Cantor's is really good, like just as good. I'm like, you need to sit down and walk away and delete my number, and I'll delete you, and we can never talk again. You know,
Do you have a favorite book?
my favorite book is House of Leaves. Um, the really weird book. Uh, he's never written anything else that's notable. His name's Mark Danielewski. I mean, if you're kind of into his shit, you would like his other books. It's a horror book. It's about okay, so like this book is supposed to represent a chest that this guy finds, and in the chest there's all these other passages, clips, um, stuff that's in the book. So newspaper clippings and poems and other books. Like every page of it like looks super different. Just give you a whole little scan and stuff. I don't know if this is like picking up, but it's really there's a lot of footnotes and stuff. It's very complicated in the sense of figuring out how to read it. It's like you could read it chronologically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but on page 7 it might say, "Hey, go to page 645, learn more about this character." And then in the passage on page 645, it tells you go back to page 65, and you start reading page 65, and it tells you you could learn more about this on page 121, or you can go back to started or something like that. So you sort of have to figure out how to read it, and the way in which you read it, I believe, is a reflection of your reading habits and your habits and like how you consume information. and it's which is very telling of your personality and who you are. So I think that this book is like intensely personal because it's feeling about who you are in regards to the way in which you consume the book. It's snobby and overly complicated. I'm trying to find a particular page that's just like so trippy looking. Oh, here it is. It's this fucking. It's wild. The whole. It's the whole thing. Like I don't know if you've ever read. I don't know if you're like a big reader or if anyone listening to this who's never heard of House of Leaves, like Pale Fire by Nabokov does that, where he tells you to jump all over the place and read other stuff. Um, yeah, it's a wild, trippy. It's an experience, and it's very scary, very, very scary, like intensely scary. But yeah, that's my favorite book. Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed this interview I did with Big Mike. Earlier this month, at the beginning of January, Cancer Christ released their debut album. You can listen to and buy Cancer Christ's debut album, God is Violence, on their Bandcamp. If you're interested in a crazy, silly, but interesting band that is somewhere along the lines of Gwar, Goat Whore, Eyehategod, Mr. Bungle, and more beyond that, I really recommend them, and I think that you should check them out. Check out Cancer Christ's Bandcamp page, and once again, God is Violence is out now, ready to be listened to.